Hi guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new. Sorry that this review is a little bit later than scheduled, but I was super ill at the end of last week, and being sat in front of a camera did not necessarily sound appealing, and I probably wouldn't have looked very good. In this video, I will be entering the instrumental world of Animals as Leaders, a band that have been at the very forefront of innovation and exploration. So I'll be detailing the good, the bad, and the interesting, and then at the end of the video, I'll summarize my points, and then it's over to you, the viewer, to let me know what you think of the video and also the album in the comments below. Parrhesia marks probably the longest amount of time between an Animals as Leaders album, after 2016's The Madness of Many was the last one, making it 6 years between that album and this release. And if you're not familiar with the band, they are an instrumental progressive metal outfit that are formed of Tosin Abasi, Matt Gasker on drums, and Javier Reyes. So 3 people that are possibly some of the best musicians you will ever see. I think the band are very much characterized by using more of a low-end element of the guitar, but not like Meshuggah or anything like that, but making it more percussive, kind of like Victor Wooten, let's say. Contrary to the relaxing but no less mind-bending Madness of Many, Parrhesia very much kind of sets its sights on metal from the word go. This album is very much heavy but still retains that air of versatility that Animals as Leaders have, showing that they are not a one-trick pony. It's all down to simple and technical, but not necessarily overbearing songwriting. And in many cases, you'll have this one riff which begins the track, then it kind of goes off elsewhere, does all sorts of stuff, but then you always kind of get anchored by the same, it might be a melody, a riff, a rhythm, but there's always some form of thread that you can latch onto. And I think that's good because one, it gets you, a narrative of the actual song, and two, it allows for that differentiation between songs, so it doesn't just become, kind of noodling after noodling. However, as I did mention, there is more of a focus on heavy, and there are tracks on here where it literally sounds like someone threw a bouncy ball in a room full of 8 strings that have been turned on. It just goes, like. But you've also got to talk about the melodies, and there are some amazing ones on here. Red Miso and Gestaltserfall, I think, are 2 of my favourites for sure. It's, I think, so important that the choice of melody is really highlighted with Animals as Leaders, because it really earworms its way into your psyche. And these melodies don't necessarily have to be guitar either. I think there's more of a use of synthesizers and kind of keyboards on this album, more so than there has been in the past, for sure. But then you've got that sort of like dribbling guitar sound, which is on Thoughts and Prayers, which I feel like in many ways Animals as Leaders make the guitars like onomatopoeic, like you can sort of hear and see what they would sound like. Do you know what I mean? So the bad that I would associate with this album is that it did take me quite a long time to get my head around it. I remember listening to it the first time and kind of thinking, oh, is that it? We've waited 6 years for that. But it comes in, I think, the genius of the melodies, and the more you listen to it, the more those melodies really do kind of get ingrained in your psyche. And I think In many ways, this kind of has the same sort of idea as The Joy of Motion, which is one of my favourite Animals as Leaders album, but it wasn't necessarily kind of like as immediate as The Joy of Motion, for example. That was just like, oh, this is brilliant, like from the word go. So it does take a little bit of time, is what I'm trying to say. I did not know that Misha Mansour of Periphery produced this album and is also basically like the hidden member of Animals as Leaders, and he arranged 5 out of the 9 tracks. So the self-titled, I think, was Technicality. Weightless was playing with rhythmic ideas. The Joy of Motion was them experimenting with these ideas of melody, and The Madness of Many was kind of more of a jazz sort of feel. Parrhesia sounds like a logical composite of all of these elements, but with more of a focus on crafting an atmosphere rather than kind of bombarding you with technicality. The definition of Parrhesia is the ability to speak multiple languages, and ironically, despite having no vocals, Animals as Leaders prove that they can speak to literally almost any language in rock and metal on this fantastic new album. So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review and that you learned a little bit more about Animals as Leaders. Let me know what you thought of the review and also the album, as I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Other than that, I will be back with my Meshuggah Immutable review later on this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, my friends.